times in a studio situation, I'll see people getting rid of their clay, just tossing it out in a trash can or putting in a recycle bin if that particular studio has a recycle bin. They're throwing it out or tossing it out because it's totally dried out into a big brick or it just doesn't seem workable. Sometimes if clay is a little stiff, you can take your bag and then just drop it on the floor several times, and that'll kind of get it a little softer and workable. But sometimes it's just gone beyond that stage and people think there's nothing left to do, toss it out, they don't have a pug mill, might as well just not waste any time or effort. There's actually a really easy way that you can revive your clay so that you never have to throw out your clay or your scraps of clay or anything like that. And I'll be going over this, and all you really need is your bag of clay, some water, and a 3 to 5 gallon bucket. And after that, you'll never have to throw clay away. So first, you want to check your bag and make sure that perhaps it didn't dry out because there were holes. That might have been the reason that your clay dried out in the first place. I have an extra bag here just in case that's the case and I missed the hole. I'll put it in another bag. Ideally, you'd want to have another clay bag though than this trash bag. It's just a little more sturdier, but the trash bag will work. And then this is like half a 25-pound bag, and then 2 other pieces of chunks of clay. And looking over the bag, I do see that there are actually 2 little holes. So I want all the water contained in the bag, so I will be putting this inside this trash bag here. I would normally pick this all up and do it inside the bucket, but for you to see, I'm going to do it separately, which you can do. It just gets a little heavier once there's water. So I'm not going to describe it. I'll just go ahead and describe the process. I'm going to take some water. I just went ahead and put some in an empty container here. And I will put the clay bag into this little trash bag. So I have this clay bag sitting inside another trash bag. I'm going to go ahead and just take some water, and what I want to do is drizzle the water all the way over the clay. And then I'm going to squeeze all of the air out of the bag. And I can kind of feel it kind of squishing around. And it's starting to ooze out of that bag into the second bag, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get a little more water. You can kind of see the bag expand. Squeezing all the air out. I could have just transferred this into an empty clay bag and show you how to do it when the clay just dries out. But I thought I would go ahead and show you what happens when you have the hole, because a lot of times you're not saving your extra clay bags, and this would give you the opportunity to still save your clay. So I still see a little bit of air, and it's really important that I squeeze the air out. So the next step is I'm going to take this and place that into a 3 to 5 gallon bucket. Open it up and pour it, and then just leave it. You can do it on the floor. This is kind of heavy to lift, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just showing you an alternative way. And this way you get to see all the steps. Okay, so as you can see, I placed the bag inside the bucket and squeezed all the air out, and water's in there. Again, you can go ahead and take your bucket, take your bag, then pour your water and do it all in here, but for demonstration purposes, so you could kind of see a little more what I was doing, I did it a little bit differently. So now I'll just take some water, and if you have a garden hose, you can do it in a garden hose, but I realize some people may be doing it at home. They have a patio or a deck where they don't really need a garden hose. So you can just take an empty container of water or a gardening can or something and then fill it up. what I want to do is fill it so it passes where the clay actually stops. So I'm just going to top it off using my garden hose. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but there is some air here, so you could squeeze it out or check it to make sure that most of the air, it's just a tiny little bit, kind of squeezing it, so there really isn't any air. It appeared to be a bubble, but it seemed to have disappeared. Looks like I need to add a little more water because I do want it to go right to the top. Okay, so as you can see, the water is topped over where the little twisty is, and so it's right exactly where the twisty is. And now I will just leave this sitting here for 24 to 48 hours. And what's happening is I basically have water in the bag with the clay. If I would have just put the water in the bag with the clay, it would have stayed towards the bottom of the clay bag. By putting the water into the clay bag and putting the clay bag and the water into this bucket and then filling it with water, the water and the pressure will push the water in the clay bag into the clay. So it goes all the way from the outside into the core, the center of the clay. And so you usually want to do it 24 to 48 hours. If you do it any less than that, then what will happen is the outside will be soft, but the inside might be a little hard. So 24 to 48 hours, and then you can dump the water or pull out your clay bag. You'll open it up. It should be in a good consistency. If it's a little too mushy, then what I would recommend is to pull the bag away from the clay and leave air in there, and then twist it so there'll be air in there. Or you can just open the bag and be checking on it while you're working, and then close it off at the end of your work session and kind of get it back to the stage that you want it to work with. The other thing is that if you have a plaster bat or something, you can wedge your clay in the on the plaster bat and rework it that way. So there's several options, but it's really very simple. 24 to 48 hours. Usually I pop open the bag and it's ready to go. Sometimes I need to leave a little air in there, but in most cases not. So hopefully this has been helpful and can show you how you can bring back to life any dried out clay that you have, even if it's been sitting around for a long time with a hole in the bag and it just seems like a big hard brick. There's still a way to bring it back, revive it, use it just as you would a fresh bag of clay.